So for today's video of Let's Talk Jinx, a weekly video we do every Wednesday on this channel about anything to do with Jinx, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. Because even though every 2 weeks we usually talk about the patch notes, as you will, what will affect Jinx through the patch notes, there were some changes like Jhin and Hell of Blades, for example, that might make that matchup a bit better. Who knows? Generally, A, not a lot is changing, and B, the 10th of October specifically is a very important date to Jinx. It was her release date, as a matter of fact, back in 2013, the 10th of October. That's when Jinx was released into League of Legends though, and since this day lines up with that day, I thought instead to do something a little bit different for, Jinx's technically anniversary, birthday, however you want to say that. I do a little bit of a different style video, in which case I would kind of just detail my story about why I chose to play this champion, why I play this champion, and encourage you guys to do the same in the comment section. Comment with your own story about why maybe you started playing League and then Jinx specifically. What makes Jinx so fun? Why would you recommend her to one of your friends if they're just getting into League and stuff like that? So for me, my story is kind of simplistic. It's not necessarily the most interesting story, but I'll still tell it so you can see how it do. And I was gonna do some kind of like the draw my life thing, but it's like draw my Jinx, if you will. So there we go. We'll see how this goes. The camera's a little bit shaky. It might fall over. I'm fearful of doing this video idea, but you know what? Let's just jump into it. Sponsored by BetterHelp. No, kidding. Anyways, so with that being said, my story kind of starts actually the cohort group I had back, especially when I was going on campus. Here are some of the cohort people. In a class, I was with them. Mask, there's my hat, there's me. We were in a cohort group, and essentially back then, I say back then like it was a long time ago, it wasn't really that long ago, I guess, but back when League was like, getting popular and stuff like that, these were people that already like enjoyed League as it was. They already played League to an extent, and what they kind of decided they wanted to do was make a club. Fine idea, especially because there wasn't a League club at the time. Now, me personally, I hadn't begun playing the game, but as their fellow cohort, if you will, what I did decide to do instead was help them set up. So when they would be setting up tables and stuff, what I would help do is essentially, help with setting up stuff. Yes, I could wear a mask and all of my stuff like on campus and like never get in trouble. It was weird. Why am I so blocky? I can only draw Legos. That's correct, ladies and gentlemen. This is a story about Jinx and Legos now. Anyways, I would help set up, but I didn't really know how to play myself, which is fortunately though where the cohort, people come in. They were like, oh, well, you know what? You hang out with us as it is anyways. Why not? We teach you. The problem that came up for me though was my old computer. It could download the game, which it did successfully. It downloaded the game, but it could not play the game unless I was on campus specifically. So it led to me only really playing on campus, or at least trying to play on campus, because I was really busy. Obviously, as you can imagine, people are when they have to go to campus and stuff, in school and college and all that. There wasn't often a lot of downtime, right? So, there is that too. And I also couldn't play at home. So even if I went and finished my homework, which was mountains as it was, I will say, even if I went and got all of it finished, it was all good to go. Well, we still couldn't actually play any League at home. So it kind of didn't matter, unfortunately. That's not a cake, that's a pile of homework that's finished, because for some reason teachers sometimes feel like they're the only teacher you have, so they hand out homework as if they're your only teacher, and it's like, don't do that, please. Please, please, please. So that being said, let's flash forward to New Year's 2014. Why that's significant is because, remember, Jinx had pretty much just came out a few months ago in 2013. So in 2014, what happens is I have a friend who I can't draw well. This is just going to be them. You're going to have to imagine the fire. If you don't get that reference, that's totally fine. They have hair. They have hair, better hair than I. Their favorite champion, and one of the things they like to do on this website you might have heard of, called The Tweets, on Twitter. The website's called Twitter, not Tweets. Okay, you know what? I messed that sentence up. Whatever. On Twitter, is they would constantly tweet out the ggGetJinxed music video. Oh dear, I just got marker on the desk. Yes. They would constantly tweet that out, and not until like an annoying level. I just say constantly versus like today, where like that music video is almost 5 years old. So people aren't spamming it maybe as much as they used to be. But then it got me thinking, well, you know, okay, what was that from? The League game that I can't seem to get to proper work. But what if I just tried anyway? The issue ended up being that the drivers for my computer kind of just like didn't want to run League. For some random reason, in 2014, I tried it again, and my computer just decided, in like a light bulb moment, League, you say? What if it just worked? And so there you go. I could now play League of Legends at home and other places. So I did. So one of the things I noticed was that there were several free-to-play champions back then. I know they've changed it now, so it's not quite the same. But back then, there used to be free-to-play champions that you could play and keep until like now, free-to-play is like 1 week. But back then, it was like from levels 1 through 6 that you could play and keep these champions. And so you had some champions that nowadays you might recognize a bit more. Like they had this one bug-looking dude with like a scythe or whatever, which was ggGetJinxed. They had like Lissandra, who had a ponytail, as well as, you know, ice and stuff. They had a dude of bow and arrow, which we now know was like Varus, and that was cool or whatever. And they had all these, you know, different champions, and then they had Jinx. Recognized her as the one from the music video, so I decided to play her. Now, I was bad when I first started playing League. Like, actually, like, pretty bad. It was bad. It's not anything to write home about. It's memorable now, but it's nothing to be like, oh hey, that's fine. We all were, and that's true. I'm not, you know, gonna say you're wrong or anything, but like the level to which I could not play this game was bad. To put it simply, I could somehow miss auto attacks on minions, and to a phrase we would now come to learn as auto canceling. But I just thought it was a guarantee, so I found a way to even miss those, especially if there was an enemy that was even looking my way, and I just run because I just did not know how to deal with that. However, one of the most fun moments I had in all of League was when I finally learned about something that we kind of know nowadays as JINX'S passive. When I procced it for the first time, that was one of the most fun experiences I'd had playing the champion. Now granted, in this particular scenario, as alluded to in that picture, I kind of ran right into a wall. Kind of like Looney Tunes style, we just face planted into the wall. And Warwick at the time would just, aka apparently the Echo Fox logo, but this is Warwick. This is Warwick is ganking over a brush, so he doesn't need a bottom half. And so as such, you know, maybe I died there, possibly. But it was still fun. It was basically in a time when I was learning the game. I didn't know how to play the game, and here was, at least in my opinion, a mechanic that rewarded me for kind of learning how to play the game, because Get Excited can only be procced on a kill or assist. So now it's like, oh, as long as I keep learning the game, I'll get better and get to do cooler stuff. And that came to be how I started learning League, period, was through Jinx, guessing, laning in general. I can't say that word on YouTube. This next one, pretty much if you're like trading in lane, but it's basically you trading in lane a lot more than your opponent is trading in lane. It starts with an H, pretty much. It's not a bad word. It's not a word YouTube likes anyways, and I don't want to get this video demonetized. So I'll just say stuffs. There we go. In League, I learned how to play the game through Jinx, and so that's kind of part of it. Like, it started with the friend that, you know, the friends that started the League Club. It started with the friend that also spammed to get Jinx. It started with that experience, the passive, that was insanely fun, and then me sticking with Jinx throughout the whole entire thing. To the point, if you might recall, back in patch, there's a C in there, 8.4, with the AP item changes that came through, I did a video about, well, what about those AP items on Jinx? She's never going to build them unless we're building like AP Jinx, in which case, what kind of criminal are you? I'm just kidding, have fun. But I am saying, though, like, they're not meant to be played on Jinx, and yet there I was, building them on Jinx, just to give an explanation about, like, what the items did. It wasn't necessarily that you should build them on Jinx, but that's, like, what I do now when stuff would happen, as I would go, okay, and we're going to do a video, and it's going to be through Jinx's experience with these items. To the point, nowadays, that's kind of why I kind of like experimenting on Jinx as well, because when you look at Jinx, the thing about Jinx, mechanics are not necessarily that hard, right? So part of it too was that the champion was simplistic, and it actually, for me, equaled fun. I play games to veg out. I don't necessarily play games to get stressed and not have a good time and stuff like that. It's why ranked, especially when I first started out and even when I started learning the game at a decent point, was not something I really wanted to do, because I'd heard the war stories about ranked and heard about, you know, how like toxic sludge like that could be. These are toxic barrels. And just how unfun that side of it could be. Like, why would I then play ranked? I don't want to go through that. I got enough of that from other stuff. I come to play games to veg out. And Jinx, despite as a character being like an actual like criminal, and that's, you know, not good, as a champion within League, where the lore kind of doesn't matter, there's no story mode. Sorry, I'm not trying to hate on League, like, lore fanatics or anything like that. I get it, actually, I do. But I'm just saying, you know, that was a champion where I could just kind of like play the game at simply because it weren't hard to execute and have a good time playing the game. Learn stuff through them, and now, all this time later, it's part of why, unfortunately, I bug August. If that name doesn't sound familiar, shame on you, unless you're like new to just the whole entire game, or Jinx. But August, you know, the kit designer for, I don't know what his profile picture was, but I know he has a Teemo hat. I would bug him, unfortunately, with all this stuff that I probably, you know what, I don't know how he puts up with it. Thanks, though, August, but I bug him all the time on Twitter about all these, like, different builds and stuff. I'm like, oh, look, it's secretly good. AP, Marksman, Kaisa, but on Jinx. Or the classic lethality, which I posted that video where we streamed together, and I did that build when we did a Nexus Blitz like 2 months ago. He puts up with it. I don't know how. Shoutouts to August, by the way, and the whole team that worked on Jinx, for that matter. By, you know, just as a side note, this champion wouldn't exist without them. I know there's 3 of them that worked on it. I know there are some of them that are no longer with Riot, so I'm not 100% sure if they would want their name in this video. I don't think it would be a problem, but I feel like, because I didn't ask first, I don't want to assume. But I will say, please look up the people all involved that made Jinx. Yes, August is a kit designer, so since this is really a kit story, I'm mentioning him though. But do go look those guys up, and you know, thank them if they don't mind for making this champion, if you enjoy the champion. So with that being said, I don't know how August puts up with it, but he does. And I'm not saying, by the way, that I'm some sort of revolutionary ahead of my time just because I post a screenshot of where I went deathless, you know, going 0, 0, and 0. That's borderline AFK. Yeah, I didn't feed, but I guess I didn't do much else, did I? So, you know, I mean, we won the game. That's the bottom line. That's LP right there in a ranked game. Just kidding. Please do not copy my footsteps. Do not go and do that stuff. Don't look up the picture on Twitter and all that. It's not good. If you go listen to all the good Jinx players, like for example, TN the Man, you should be following them over on Twitch. By the way, they probably are streaming today because by the time this video goes up, it'll be the Wednesday, and they usually stream on Wednesdays when a new patch hits. Go follow them. They're actual good Jinx players, someone you should be listening to. Not me. I'm more of an experimentalist, if anything, but at the same time, I just still love the champion too. And this has been kind of the story about why I play Jinx. So when it comes down to Jinx, when it comes to the conclusion of this story, I don't know, I just found this champion fun, like, no matter what, and I don't think I'd ever switch to another champion if I ever, you know, played a lot of League again. So that being said, that is basically my story of how I played and why I play, and I cannot spell? Sure. Anniversary. Thank you. Part of it's the marker. It's kind of runny, so it makes it hard to make letters. But yeah, that's basically the majority of the story of why I play Jinx, why I've kept playing Jinx, why I'm adamant about doing even different things on this champion, because now it's at the point where I don't want to play a new champion. I'd rather try something new on this champion. You know, when people say the kit is too simple or something like that, I'm not going to sit here and say they're wrong. I'm just going to sit here and say that, okay, well, you say I can't do this. Well, let's see if I can do this because you said I can't do this. And so with that being said, 5 years of Jinx and League of Legends. That's my story, but I encourage you guys to, you know, add your own story. Why do you play Jinx in League of Legends? What got you into playing Jinx in League of Legends? You know, why do you think you'll continue to play Jinx in League of Legends? And also make sure to, you know, thank the right people and stuff like that, like I mentioned earlier. And also go check out, you know, some of the actual good Jinx players within the community. I do appreciate you guys allowing me to make these videos week after week for y'all. And hopefully we can get a discussion going then about, you know, on their technically anniversary, birthday, however you want to go about it, their creation, their launch into League. And for a lot of us, the reason now why maybe we still play League or started playing League. So that being said, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I should do the whole like, comment, subscribe, bell notification foolishness, but at this point I feel like it's, you watch me draw on a whiteboard for like 10 to 15 minutes. To each their own, right? But nonetheless, not only thank you, because one of the things that I would like to add, personally, is I'm not a really big fan of the League subreddit, but I am a big fan of the Jinx subreddit. Y'all are a great community, and one of the things that has kept me around this champion actually is also, you know, other Jinx mains. Unlike, say, a Draven, I'm just gonna name drop, you know, where they might have a more toxic community around their champion. Ours, not that there's never been a toxic Jinx player ever, but like that's not like what we think it means to be Jinx or play Jinx, is to have to be like super alpha or whatever the heck, you know, other mains like Rengar, Rivens, or whatever. People that consider those champions toxic mains are toxic for, right? We're pretty good, at least in my opinion, in my interactions with y'all. So thank you for not only allowing me to do this, but thank you for also being one of the reasons that I continue to enjoy this champion. Because then if I want to talk about something, even if it's completely wrong, like, you guys go about it in a civil way. If I was supposed to make a video tomorrow about why I think AP Jinx will be the new build for Season 9, have like no credible information whatsoever, and you guys wanted to tell me why I'm wrong, it's going to be in a civil way. And I actually really appreciate that. And again, in a world where I game and stuff to veg out and to relax and stuff, it's fun. That's good. Y'all are good people. Okay, that's a mess up. There we go. That's an example of y'all. Y'all good people. Y'all fun people, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching. That's all for this video. I don't know which video will be next, because life can have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care. GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.